The city did not fall the way cities are supposed to fall. There was no single fire layer sealing its end, no unmistakable horizon of violence or catastrophe. Cahokia, once the largest urban center north of Mesoamerica, did not announce its departure with ruins frozen in the moment of destruction. Instead, it thinned, it loosened, it quieted. What remains unsettles, because it contradicts the expectation that complexity ends loudly. The contradiction sits at the center of the site itself, a place built with extraordinary coordination, sustained for centuries, then left behind without a final scene that history can confidently point to and name. What survives is partial and stubbornly mute. Earthworks rise where wood once stood. The great mounds still hold their geometry, but not their voices. Archaeologists can trace alignments, reconstruct outlines, date layers of soil with care. They can measure the scale of labor required to move so much earth without metal tools or draft animals. They can establish that tens of thousands lived here at its height, organized around plazas, causeways, and ceremonial spaces. They can say when Cahokia was growing and roughly when it began to empty. They can show that people left, not all at once, but steadily enough that by the time Europeans arrived, the city was already memory without witnesses. The known facts form a narrow island surrounded by uncertainty. Cahokia rose near the Mississippi River, at a point where waterways converged and fertile floodplains supported intensive agriculture. Maize cultivation expanded, trade networks extended hundreds of miles. Objects made from distant materials passed through the city. The population increased rapidly. New mounds were built, some reshaped and enlarged again and again. Woodhenge circles were constructed and reconstructed, marking solar movements with precision. Social differentiation is visible in burials, in housing density, in access to goods. Then, after roughly 3 centuries of prominence, the pattern reverses. Construction slows. Peripheral settlements thin. Central spaces lose density. By the 14th century, the core is no longer inhabited as a city. Beyond this outline, the record phrase. There are signs of stress, but no single signal dominates. Some layers suggest flooding, others do not. Some show defensive structures, others remain open. There are burials that hint at violence, but not at a scale that explains abandonment. Climatic reconstructions suggest periods of instability, but not a clear sequence that maps cleanly onto departure. Evidence of disease is speculative, inferred rather than observed. Social conflict is possible, but the material record does not. Resolve it into a narrative with actors and outcomes. Each thread exists, but none pulls the whole fabric into coherence. As interpretation moves forward, it encounters not answers, but pressure. The pressure comes from trying to make absence behave like evidence. Scholars return to the same features, mounds, plazas, palisades, hoping that new methods will extract a decisive explanation. But each methodological advance clarifies details while leaving the central question intact. High-resolution dating refines timelines, but does not reveal motive. Environmental sampling adds nuance without closure. Spatial analysis maps patterns of movement and abandonment, but not the reason those movements felt necessary to the people who made them. The pattern that emerges is not one of sudden collapse, but of progressive disengagement. Houses are not burned, they are left. Spaces are not desecrated, they are neglected. The city does not appear conquered or annihilated. It appears relinquished. This creates an interpretive strain because relinquishment resists causality. Leaving can be rational or emotional, planned or reactive, collective or piecemeal. The material record struggles to register such distinctions. Soil remembers pressure, not intention. Even the scale of Cahokia complicates understanding. A city of this size requires coordination, but coordination does not leave a single signature. Authority may have existed, but its form is unclear. Belief systems structure daily life, but belief leaves uneven traces. Ritual activity is evident, Yet ritual does not explain its own abandonment. The city's builders invested enormous energy into shaping space and time, aligning structures with celestial cycles, anchoring social life to cosmology. That investment did not guarantee permanence. Whatever held Cahokia together did not bind it indefinitely. As attention shifts from what might have gone wrong to what simply stopped happening, the silence deepens. Maintenance declines. Construction pauses. Trade diminishes. These are not events, but absences of events, and they accumulate slowly enough that no single moment demands explanation. The city becomes less necessary before it becomes untenable. This gradualism frustrates the search for cause because it offers no rupture to analyze. The end is distributed across decades, perhaps generations, each decision small enough to feel reversible at the time. The people who left Cahokia did not vanish. Descendant communities persist, carrying stories, practices, and identities that do not map neatly onto the archaeological site. Oral traditions exist, but they do not preserve a clear account of abandonment. They speak of movement, of transformation, of places that were once central and are no longer. These narratives are not missing because they were erased. They were never obligated to answer the questions modern inquiry asks. They preserve meaning without preserving explanation. The strain intensifies when modern observers attempt to impose coherence. The temptation to resolve uncertainty is strong, especially when confronted with a site of such scale and sophistication. The absence of a single cause feels like a failure of analysis rather than a feature of the past. Yet every attempt to stabilize meaning introduces distortions. To say Cahokia collapsed because of climate, or conflict, or social unrest is to privilege one pressure over others without sufficient warrant. The record resists hierarchy. It suggests accumulation without culmination. At a certain point, inquiry turns inward, not because answers are close, but because the limits of knowing become unavoidable. The question shifts subtly. It is no longer only about what caused abandonment, but about why the need for a cause feels so urgent. The discomfort arises from facing a past that does not resolve itself into a lesson or a warning. Cahokia does not offer a clear moral arc. It offers duration, complexity, and withdrawal. What does it mean to confront a city that was not destroyed, but left behind, without leaving behind a reason that can be securely named? The question unsettles because it undermines the assumption that large-scale human endeavors end in proportionate ways. It suggests that even vast systems of coordination can unwind quietly, without drama sufficient to satisfy historical explanation. The silence around Cahokia is not empty. It is structured by what cannot be recovered. Wooden buildings decay. Spoken decisions evaporate. Motivations do not fossilize. The archaeological record captures what resisted disappearance, not what governed choice. This imbalance shapes every interpretation. We see the weight of Earth moved, but not the conversations that decided where to move it. We see the spacing of houses, but not the reasons families chose to stay or leave. The absence is not accidental. It is intrinsic to the medium through which the past reaches us. In the end, the city remains present as a form without a final sentence. Its mounds still reorder the landscape, imposing geometry on modern surroundings that no longer share their purpose. Visitors walk paths that once structured ritual and daily life, aware that explanation thins the closer it comes to certainty. Cahokia does not resolve into a cautionary tale or a solved puzzle. It remains a place where scale and silence coexist, where the effort to understand encounters a boundary it cannot cross. The pattern does not close. It holds, unresolved, insisting not on an answer, but on recognition of what remains unknowable when a city leaves without telling us why. If this reflection resonated with you, you can find more explorations like this on Timeless Questions, where history, power, and human nature quietly intersect.